That afternoon at Prizm Labz, Cassie, you're at work.
Like a good girl.
Yes, like a good girl.
Looks at Noir.
And Dr. Asman actually comes by your desk. And he says, Cassie, I was wondering if there was a particular new project that I thought you might be interested in being involved in.
Oh yeah? What is it?
We've been developing some new devices. It's still a prototype though. And he gives you a small case, and inside the case is a wristwatch looking kind of thing. This looks similar to the Mega Evolution watches, but it's not exactly the same. Similar though.
Is that for me or for her? Like, would she know? Mega watches?
Cassie would know.
Okay, I don't know how big it is in this
watch
universe. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say that Mega Evolution watches is very expensive. So it's not something that the common trainer would have. Maybe some of the wealthier families would give their 10-year-olds such a thing. But think of it as like the Tesla, the car, like the Tesla of Pokemon equipment.
Okay.
Like very few people actually own one, but it's definitely something that is a household. People know what it is, and if you own one, they're like, oh wow.
So it's pretty prestigious.
Like, yes, pretty prestigious.
Okay.
So he says, I thought this would be right up your alley since, well, you are the progeny of your father who was into studying evolution and things. So as you know, Pokemon evolution, we're still studying the mysteries of it. But the interesting thing about evolution is that it is just as much a choice as it is nature. Pokemon can certainly be physically capable of evolving, but at the end of the day, a lot of what makes Pokemon evolve is their choice to evolve or not. Some Pokemon simply prefer staying in their devolved or non-evolved forms and are very happy in such for the rest of their life. However, for Pokemon who prefer being in their, I guess, regular evolved forms for the rest of their lives, we have an option for some trainers if the Pokemon are interested. This particular watch, it's the name of which is still being determined as we speak. Essentially what it does is it allows a Pokemon to evolve temporarily. Normally perhaps in combat, for example. So the effects are similar to Mega Evolution. As you know, Mega Evolution is temporary, but it allows them to evolve temporarily to a higher evolution, but then eventually they'll revert back to their previous state.
So a Charmander to Charmeleon and then go back.
A Charmander to Charmeleon and go back. It might even be possible to make them evolve 2 levels instead of just 1.
Skip a stage?
That particular feature is still highly experimental. I wouldn't recommend trying. But this particular prototype has been deemed safe to at least evolve the Pokemon 1 stage. Though technically you could make it. Think of overclocking. Like if you're overclocking a computer, you could overclock it, I guess, to make it evolve 2 stages. But again, like I said, that hasn't been fully tested.
Either way, that's incredible. I mean, how long has your team been working on this?
For the last couple of years, I would say.
At
any rate, if you're interested in being in the project, I thought that this would be something fun for you to study.
No, I would love that. That sounds fantastic. Do you know? Okay,
this prototype is yours, he says.
Thank you. So yeah, she'll gladly take it and look at it for a minute, but then just sit on her desk. She'll put it on later, whatnot when she's not working. But for now, she asks, have you tested how this works on Pokemon that evolve through other means? By holding items or being exposed to certain phenomena?
That is something that this watch currently does not do. That
okay.
One is...
So deeper evolution specifically through growth.
through natural means, yes. If it is requiring of a held item, for example, that is something that we're still developing, or at least hasn't been fully tested enough to be deemed safe yet.
Well, good to know. Was this at all tied to like research with the Everstone?
Yes, it was. And a little bit of that, and a little bit of the de-evolution spray that your father concocted.
I didn't realize he actually got off the ground with that.
There's a lot about your father you don't seem to know, Miss Cassandra, he says.
What do you mean?
He says, well, for starters, did you know that your father had some connections with Prizm Labz? I guess you wouldn't be too surprised.
I guess not. I thought he was mostly independent.
He contracted for them. He was never an official employee. He just did some contractual work on the side.
Well, I mean, you have to get paid, right?
Yeah. Your dad was a very brilliant mind. He was very ambitious. And during my time working with him, it was very apparent that he was very intelligent and gifted.
No, you two seem to do a lot of good things together, actually.
We did. I think we did a lot. And I think that a lot of our studies, thanks to him, have developed into very beneficial things for the Pokemon community, especially in evolution.
And actually, Richard, can I ask you about that?
Sure.
How did you feel when, you two stopped working together?
Well, I don't know how many of the details you remember, but it wasn't by his choice, it was by my choice. I felt that your father, as ambitious as he was, I felt that every now and then he tended to walk the line between what I deemed ethical and not ethical. Let me put it that way. Sorry, I don't really think it's kind of awkward talking about your father in that way, especially when he's not really around to defend himself.
Well, I mean, we'd kind of been told that you were the one that had those ideas.
He shook his head. No.
Well, I mean, regardless, it's just for the sake of science. Doesn't really mean anything, right? Though,
Let me tell you about my first time working here at Prizm Labz shortly after I left being your assistant to your father. So Prizm Labz has been around for quite some time. And I guess for an organization as large as this, it's impossible for a facility to be completely unblemished. He looks around the office a little bit, and then, he shuts the door. There are a few skeletons in the closet at even Prizm Labz, ones that I didn't agree with, again, for ethical reasons. And I did have a hand in shutting down one of the wings or one of the divisions of Prizm Labz because some members of the employees were sort of going against the value system of our labs. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's kind of sort of indirectly had something to do with some of your dad's research. Well, not directly. There was a division of Prizm Labz, as you know, that was trying to unlock the shiny gene.
Mm.
Which in and of itself isn't a bad thing. I think that if people would like to understand what makes a Pokemon shiny and even find out ways to make a Pokemon shiny. Again, as long as it doesn't hurt the Pokemon, I'm not totally against it. But the way that they were, a specific branch of that project was handling it, I didn't quite agree. There was a Pokemon that was essentially bred for generations specifically to become the ideal shiny Pokemon. It was a muck. And this muck, I don't know its full history, but it didn't seem particularly happy about the conditions. It was being treated more as an experimental project as opposed to an actual living being. I don't want to get into much details, but the conditions of which this muck was found itself in, as beautiful as it was as a shiny muck, was not the most ideal. I befriended said muck for quite some time, and we got to be very close. And then I decided to finally put my foot down. The problem is I was at the time not the director or anyone special. I was actually a lowly employee of the totem pole, and I was so upset. There was an incident that occurred that broke the camel's back that I decided to take matters in my own hands. Again, he's looking around the lab to make sure nobody's watching. I decided I was going to help that particular muck escape. But that wasn't going to be very easy, because considering how it's a large Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So I decided an easy way to allow the muck to escape would be it would be hard for me to whisk it away very easily. Even with a Pokeball, they have ways of scanning for those kind of things to make sure that the people don't leave facilities with our experiments, I suppose. So what I did instead is I ended up utilizing your father's de-evolution spray, and I devolved it into a Grimer instead.
How long ago was this?
A few years ago.
And what ended up happening?
I was able to leave with the Grimer, and then I was caught, per se, leaving the premises. They never quite found out that I was attached to the missing muck in the facility, but I was at least able to let the Grimer get away. And since then, I actually never knew what happened to it.
Well, all right. Yeah, I hadn't heard about anything like that connected to the labs.
At any rate, during my review of the situation, I informed them about the conditions that happened in that particular branch, and then had it shut down. Needless to say, that was one of the reasons that I eventually became a director today.
So that, just to be clear about this, that didn't specifically have anything to do with my dad, right?
Not specifically, no. But with the exception of the de-evolution spray. I guess what I was trying to say is there are certain lines that I don't think should be crossed. And at least the people that I manage, I try to maintain that as much as possible. Though I do admit that your father was able to make a lot of breakthroughs, because there were a few lines that he was willing to cross. He was still a brilliant mind regardless, and I'll always respect him for that.
I mean, yeah, because science itself can't be bad, it's just how people decide to use it. I mean, all we're searching for is answers, right?
Yes. And as much as I do have some strong opinions of your father as a scientist, I always did consider him to be an exceptional father. At least I would like to think he was.
She smiles at that and nods, says, well, I really do appreciate you, being open with me about all this.
We're old friends.
Yeah, I actually missed you when you left,
He sort of smiles a little bit. Really? I'm surprised.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I was pissed off at first too, based upon, your decision and everything, but it was nice having you around.
Well, thanks. Well, it looks like, as fate would have it, we're working together again.
And I got a sweet bracelet to show for it.
How have you been, if you don't mind me asking, Cassie, how have you been dealing with the loss of your father, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, one day at a time. It's still hard sometimes.
What exactly did happen to him? I heard stories, but never really got a definitive answer as to what happened. What was the cause of his death? Was it health reasons?
Honestly, I've been questioning a lot of things lately, and that's been one of them. But the predominant theory was that it was directly tied with his research. As you know, dealing with evolution, and a lot of his focus was put into the stones. Supposedly, he died from, the residual side effects, the radiation and all of that, but I don't know if the timelines match up. I mean, I've first never really heard of that. And second, I don't know if it would have acted as quickly as it did. But
for some reason, for some reason, I find that very hard to believe. Like I said, knowing him, I don't think he would have been that sloppy or careless to have allowed radiation or anything to take his life. That doesn't sound like him.
It doesn't. But I don't have any other answers right now. That's kind of what bothers me.
I do know that Prizm Labz has been asking him for information in a lot of his research, but he was very tight-lipped about a lot of the things he was doing near the end there.
Even as he was working for them?
Well, these were things that he wasn't specifically contracted with. This was for other side projects that I know Prizm Labz was interested in getting information on. I unfortunately don't know the full details of that, since again, I don't have the need to know, but that is what I've heard.
Is there any way you could get to know? I understand if that's too much to ask. I'm just, I'm just curious.
Perhaps I can try.
Well, whatever you find out, or if you just want to come by and chat again sometime, I'd be happy to hear it.
And same to you. My door's always open.
Thank you.
He will nod, and if there's nothing else, he will take his leave. Shay, is there anything that Chase or Remy would like to do today that's scene-worthy? Just out of curiosity.
That's scene worthy. Did anyone leave the apartment? I was so with Chase, while Molly was having those phone calls back and forth, so I knew in my head where Chase was at. I was just waiting to see if Molly would trigger anything that would indicate it. So when Molly leaves the apartment to do whatever, Chase is actually sitting in front of the door, just like with his knees up and just his arms on his knees and just looking at the door.
Do we want to say that Molly left the apartment for whatever reason? For maybe going to work, maybe to do some errands, whatever reason she's leaving the apartment.
Yeah, I think she had to go to work.
She'll be on her way to work with Bullet, and we'll say that Chase can catch a sight of her. But that's the thing. You're at Molly's apartment?
Yeah, I would have been at the apartment just across the hallway in front of the door.
So did Molly take you to Celadon City with her?
Oh, she flies.
Yeah.
No. I always forget that detail. Right, different cities.
I mean, if you want, we can conveniently say that Molly ended up delivering a package near where you were and you happened to spot her. We can just say conveniently that's what happens if you want to interact with her.
No, it would have been more for the scene of having Chase, like Creeper Chase in front of it. Well,
I mean, it would be really Creeper Chase if he happened to be in Celadon City somehow.
I mean, it is just a train ride,
knowing where Molly lives.
I have 3,000.
You do have 3,000, so you could.
I'm in
you
front
could
of her
conceivably take a
door
train.
because I took the
All right.
subway.
All right, so you spent, we'll say, 200 Pokebucks to get to Celadon City easily. Probably even less than that. I would say it would probably take you 50. If you took a bus, we'll say 50 Pokebucks.
Sure.
50 Pokebucks out of the 3,000. Gasp.
It's chase money. Chase money has no meaning.
All right, so you're right out. Somehow you know where Molly lives. Maybe Molly mentioned it at some point where you live. I don't know, but you know where she lives somehow, and you see her on her way out with Bullet. What happens?
So he looks up.
Well, first Molly gasps upon seeing him. Like, oh, Arceus. Okay. She says, Chase. I know we're friends and all, but
just wanted to make sure that if you were leaving to go see Madison, I was somewhere in the area. I didn't want you to forget about me. And it seems like you made a lot of calls this morning. Sorry, I couldn't help listening. You were sort of talking loud.
I guess I do tend to do that when I'm upset or something. Well, listen, Chase, I have to go to work, but I don't know. You want to walk and talk? Because we have a lot to talk about, I think.
Sure, let's do that. I mean, I've got nothing important to do in this city. Totally forgot you lived in a different city. Took me a while to find out where you lived, but I figured it out. You left a package behind once.
Okay, yeah. So short story is that Madison's Pokemon is missing. I'm thinking stolen from her PC, which has locked me out because she has a very secure PC. And
you think he was stolen? Is that what is that your opinion?
I think he was, yes. Apparently that's been happening a lot. Pokemon are being stolen from people's PCs. But here's the thing, though. I remember you said you wanted to go with me to the prison to see Madison, or not necessarily to see Madison. You wanted to be there when I went to go see Dr. Pearl. But the situation has changed a little bit. I have to go and talk to Madison with the lieutenant. And the only time we can go is tomorrow during the rally, during the psychic rally.
Mm-hmm. That everyone was going to crash.
Yes, and here's another thing. I don't know if I made the right choice here. The lieutenant was supposed to go and secure the spooky plate in Castelia City.
Shay.
But
I'm sorry to interrupt. As soon as she says the word Castelia City, that city rings very much in your head, as if you remember. That's where the orphanage was. Castelia City. I'm sorry. Continue what you were saying, Roma.
Yeah.
He was gonna go. Go ahead.
He was gonna go to Castelia City to get the Arceus plate, and I don't know. I don't know if I made the right choice. Now I'm keeping him here. Now I'm keeping him here for this meeting with Madison, and Madison didn't even want to talk to him, but that was the only way I was going to be allowed to talk to her, and it was such a big call to make. The Arceus plate could be as good as gone now because of me.
That Arceus plate could be an answer to my past, to our past.
How so?
Castelia City was where Whitestone Orphanage was.
When he says that, Molly, you start to remember that as well. He's right. Castelia City is where the orphanage was.
Oh. So there's so many things I want to know, and there's so much so much going on. Now I'm really not convinced that I made the right choice, but at the same time,
You're going to Madison? That was your choice? You're pulling the lieutenant to Madison?
that was my choice. Tim is like her family. And I know I know if I lost Bullet, it would, I don't know. This big decision was sprung on me. I don't know. Even now, I don't know if I made the right choice, Chase.
I think you made the right choice because you made the choice and you went with a gut. And I think that the gut is always right. And you went because of family. As much as I want to go, I mean, I made a promise to Madison, Molly. I made a promise that she wouldn't get stuck into this scenario, that I'd make sure she'd be safe. I made that promise before, didn't I?
You did. I remember.
But Castelia City, I don't know if that's a choice for me. I have to go to Castelia City. I don't think I can be with you guys for the rally, and I don't think I can be with you for Madison.
How are you going to go there?
I got 2,950 Pokebucks. And I got a day and a half
Tiffany regret
leeway.
giving you money. Sorry.
I would.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
obviously, I would prefer everybody to be with me. I don't want to go there alone. But if we don't go when the lieutenant was going to go, what if someone steals the plate and then we lose our shot?
It's important for both of us that you find out what happened, because that it involves what happened to you also affected me. So it's hard to say. What if something happens at the rally tomorrow? You know, I just have a feeling something's going to happen. Weird things have been happening to us lately.
You said Lieutenant knows where this was, though?
I believe
He knows
so,
the
yes.
place? Does he know where it was located?
I don't know. He said I don't know if he mentioned a specific building or a specific place. He just mentioned Castelia City. I mean, if you wanted to go after it, I suppose you could ask him, but it's hard to say.
I'll go talk to the lieutenant before I do anything irrational.
All right. Well, at any rate, I asked Bullet to be at the rally by himself without me, because I have to be at the prison tomorrow. I just even that I'm really starting to regret that.
At the same time this was going on, Lux got himself out the hoodie, got on top of Bullet's head. Hey, Crobat.
Yeah?
Okay. Your lady friend Inky. Do you know where she lives? I want to talk to her.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I could take you over sometime, but, you know, I've got important duties to do in the meantime, so
yeah,
I can't
obviously. I know.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you understand, then sure. I could take you over sometime.
All right. Plus, I think she'd be happy to see you.
Really? What makes you say that?
How old are you again? Cocks head to the side.
Like 3? I'm looking at Roma here.
I think by now he's about 4 years old.
About 4. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And I'm sure Pokemon mature differently than humans.
Yeah.
Like a lot, the rate of the rate they mature is a lot different.
We've talked about this in Discord, actually.
Yeah, where it varies between different species and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, she likes you. That much is obvious even to me.
Well, I mean, who doesn't like me, right? I'm awesome.
You are. Pats his head. Never mind. That's between you two to work out. I do need to talk to her. She has skills. I want those skills.
Okay, so when do you want to go over?
I'm at your beck and call.
Cool. Then, I'll see when I'm free to go, and we'll have our own little adventure.
Yeah. This can only end in good. Looks at Chase worldly.
Is it at that point then that Lux gets plucked aside?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll interrupt and I'll say, Lux, you and Bullet seem to get along. You've got some saddlebags. You want to go for a ride during the rally? I think we're going to split up, buddy.
Cock's head this side. Be careful, look.
I'm going to go with you, Molly.
All right then. I just hope we're making the right choice here.
So do I.
And
That's it. I'll find a subway
that-
back.
I was just going to say, you might want to do something with Remy because of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, intentionally not doing anything with Remy, but I would say that the difference with from the day that the stuff happened and then the night where everyone fell asleep and met in the dream zone, when Noir fell asleep, Remy usually had his corner that he would sleep in, and he starts off in that corner, but is looking at Noir the whole time, and then slowly starts creeping towards the bed, and then jumps up on the bed and sleeps at the foot of her bed, protectively.
Aww.
But he doesn't do it in a way that stirs her or wakes her up. And then by the morning, as the sun rises, he jumps off the bed and goes back to his corner and lays in the corner.
Okay. Fern will probably, during the day, once everyone's at work and stuff, Fern will probably go up to Remy and go, "You okay? You got really hurt yesterday."
Not as hurt as Noir did.
She really wanted to protect you. She even moved, with boom, boom. She was so fast, I didn't even see her move.
I should have done more. I shouldn't have rushed in there. It was stupid.
You know better next time. You can go a little stealthy. Go in the vents.
There was almost no next time, though. And then what would have been the meaning of it all? I would have lost everything.
Well, you didn't. So that's something to focus on. And you still have her, so cherish her. Make sure she doesn't get hurt again. That's what I do if Cassie got hurt. And that man, with the smoke and stuff, he grabbed her wrist, and that wasn't very good.
How do you deal with it from where you come from Big R?
Well, Cassie hasn't really got hurt like that before, from what I remember. And certainly nothing like Nor did. But I did have some... I did know some other Pokemon who got hurt, and yeah, well, one of them got really hurt. It was my fault. And, well, my trainer at the time, not Cassie, my old boss, they said it was my fault, so I got really angry, and so I apologized a lot. I couldn't do anything. Then I learnt to be a lot sneakier next time. I didn't make as much noise. And then next time no one got hurt.
What did your old boss make you do?
They used to make me sneak around police stations. Get some information. Give them some of their other Pokemon. One time we got a little bit caught and yeah. I got away, but
How did you hurt another Pokemon?
well, they got caught and I couldn't get them out. And when I went back to the trainer, she was very upset.
Did the trainer force you to do the work?
No, they asked nicely. They said it was for my own good. I get fed and groomed, so I had to do it.
Some smoke starts coming out of Remy's ears. And he starts
Oh no.
scraping at the carpet. Just like he's thinking about something that he doesn't want, he wants to express, but he doesn't know how to.
I kind of like walks over to him and like nuzzles him and goes, cool down. You're getting too hot. You'll burn the carpet.
I don't think I'm as good as I say I am.
That's
Could have got
okay.
us all into a
I'm
lot of
not very-
trouble.
Well, you just have to learn to be better. Just keep practicing and learn from your mistakes. We can practice on, like, if like, so next time, when like some bad people come around, we won't like hurt and stuff. You can practice on me.
I could
I'm good at
practice
it.
being stealthy. Not exactly. Maybe I'll learn. You're right. I think being stealthy is a good trait to have. I think it keeps people safe. I gotta cool down. Not get so fired up.
Yeah. Yes. Think first, act later. Want to practice now? You know any good hiding spots? I know of you.
How about you hide first and I'll count to 10.
Okay. She like vanishes off. Like doo 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 doo.
Remy will jump up on the ledge and fall asleep.
Okay.
She's gonna be hiding for
And Bird is
ages.
just hiding the whole day. Like, I'm so good at this.
Eventually,
Waiting.
Noir will come home. Fern may or may not still be hiding, but she will find Remy asleep. What does
Hey
she do?
guy. Hey little guy. She like pet him. It's just me.
Remy, you'll be awoken. You've fully rested, so you know it's about time for you to wake up anyway, as you feel the very familiar rubbing of your back.
He looks up and he nudges a little bit, but still
I got-
standoffish.
I got the ingredients for your favorite meal, as promised. You did quite well in the contest, and after yesterday, that shouldn't have happened to you, and I think some comfort food might be good.
His ears perk up and he sits up straight, puffs out his chest, and he looks up at the bag.
What do you think Remy's favorite meal would be?
Well, it needs to taste like wood. So something burnt, something smoked, for sure.
Like a smoked ham,
A smoked Magikarp or something like that.
a smoked Magikarp, maybe.
Probably not, because I think they're herbivores. shenanigans.
Are they? Foxes?
That makes sense.
Are they?
Yeah,
Are they?
I was surprised too.
We can,
yeah, I was
we
like,
can say.
what?
I mean, we can decide that they're not in this universe. We can decide that they happen
Okay,
to
that makes
be
perfect sense.
carnivores. We'll say they're omnivores here. So, at minimum, I think fish is fine. So,
Okay.
I know
so
that
perfect.
I have had like cedar plank like grilled fish or something before. So that actually does sound really tasty.
Okay. Well, she'll try and cook up something hopefully tasty for him. Should I do an intuition roll?
I mean, you know what he likes.
Okay.
You know, you don't need to roll. You already know what he likes.
Okay, she'll cook it up and go, well, tomorrow I'm going to go to a circuit rally. I'm going to pretend to be someone else and do some investigating, I guess.
Remy backs
The
up
others,
from the
so
food
I'm not really.
as soon as
I
you
haven't
say
been to a
psychic
psychic-
rally. Remy backs up from the food.
Haven't been to a circuit rally before. Not really interested in what they preach, but want to make sure they don't get up in my business and ruin things for my family.
Remy grabs her
Makes things more difficult.
the edge of her dress or her sock or whatever and pulls on it and shakes his head. No.
You don't want me to go?
Mm. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, what you say is king. I'll go by your lead.
He goes back towards the food.
Okay. At evening time before sleep, Tiffany would need to drop Tide off.
So Tiffany, you are going home to return Tide back to your father, Lobel. He is a well-renowned lawyer. And I'm sort of envisioning Lobel to have a bit of OCD, so to
She
speak.
gets it from somewhere.
I'm sure you get it from somewhere. So he likes things in a specific way. I think that there was an incident, I'll put that lightly, where this was maybe when you were 12 years old, 13 years old or something, and you were looking for a nail clipper, and you couldn't find where the nail clippers are normally stored. You know that your father keeps one in the drawer of his office desk, so you decided to just borrow it, and you used it, but you were very careful to make sure that it was placed back into the drawer properly. Well, he comes back home later that evening, and he gets, really, he's got that look in his eye where he seems really ticked off about something, and you're like, uh-oh, what's going on? And then he's like, did you borrow my nail clipper? And you're like, yes, I did. And I put it back where I found it, just like I always do. The problem was, you didn't place it, you placed it in the correct desk, in the correct drawer. It was just not placed in the correct spot, oriented in the correct
Exactly.
way, kind
Quarter
of
of an
thing.
inch off.
Therefore, he could not find it. And I kid you not, this story that I just told you is a real life story that actually happened to me and my own father.
Aww.
I, as a child, around 12 years old, because my dad is very OCD, I did borrow a nail clipper from his drawer, and I did put it back. He could not find it. He legitimately could not find it because it was not placed in the spot in his drawer where it normally is. That's how OCD my father is. So, sort of like kind of reminded by that when we're going into to see your dad. So you know what kind of a person he is. So you come into the house, you let yourself into the house, and the first thing that you notice is that you can hear music coming from the living room. Currently, it's Machopin, classical music. He likes listening to his classical music while he's maybe like reading the newspaper or looking through some papers. Sometimes it's Machoke's art. Currently, it's Machopin. You can enter into the living room and what you do or say.
Hello, I'm back.
He says as he holds up his finger, and he's waiting for you know what this means. He's waiting for a specific part in the song to play through, because he wants to make sure that he hears that portion. It's his favorite portion interrupted, and then finally this crescendo happens, and then it starts to taper down, and then he then turns back to you and says, "Now you may enter the room," he says with a smile.
Oh, thank you. You should be happy or proud. Tide was victorious in his category.
Tide? You actually won the competition,
Oh,
he says.
I totally won it.
He, currently, he's also, I should have mentioned too, that you can smell a little bit of, the pipe that he has been, he has a smoking jacket on, and he has a pipe that has filled the room a little bit. He makes it a point to make sure that in the entire house, it's only that room specifically that he smokes his pipe. And he takes a puff or two, and then he says, "I have to say, I'm quite impressed. I'm quite impressed, Tiffany. I knew that Tide has gone through a few of these before. I didn't know he particularly liked them, but the kind of Pokemon that he is."
Oh, he was the elder statesman of my team. Takes out Tide's ball, pops him back into his aquarium, and I'm sure he's more than happy to be home.
"I'm sure he is," he says. "Even if he's given anything that he doesn't want to do, he always does it, I'm sure, to the best of his ability. And I am grateful to hear that he was victorious. So tell me," he tells you, "what does this mean? Does this mean you're actually going to be moving to Saffron City?"
I'm working on the logistics of it. It would be easiest. Because right now, if I continue living where I am, it's an hour commute every day or 4 days a week.
He says, "You're only just working out the logistics? I would think that you have had a plan A, B, and C by this point."
I had
even
a
prior
week to make
entering the
5
contest.
costumes and 5 accessories. Plus train a team that's never, well, with the exception of Tide, been on a stage before. I was busy. Plus,
All right.
coma.
Fair enough, he says. "I have to admit, to be fair, your brother has had his fair share of hardships lately as well."
Yes, very true.
He sits back down and he starts smoking onto his pipe, and he says, "I'm still not really sure if I'm particularly happy about the prospect of you moving in such a giant city as Saffron." He says, "I've been reading the paper lately, and there's been some... I don't like what I've been reading here. In fact, Trenton himself has had such a bad experience while he was in Saffron City recently, too."
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. But it's resolved itself.
He says, "Well, yes, I suppose this time it has, but I don't know. Consider me skeptical of this particular prospect. I don't want you to get your hopes up too much."
Get my hopes up for the job that I've wanted to do since graduating high school, and didn't think it feasible to make a living off of it, so I went the beautician route instead.
Well, he says, "You can't blame me for wanting something a bit..." He's choosing his words carefully.
He should.
"Or practical. I'm happy that you're happy, Tiffany. Don't get me wrong. It's just the whole beautician. You're good at it. You're good at
the
it.
best.
Yes, I admit. And I do admit that when I first realized where you wanted to do your studies, I was a bit disapproving of that, and I was sold partway in between when I saw some of the value in the business side of things. I don't know. I just want to make sure you have a plan B in case this doesn't pan out." something a little bit more stable.
This will be stable. This isn't like Beguiling Benoit where I'm running everything by myself. Which, by the way, I have been running at a profit the last 2 years. So go me.
Very well. I just think that you just have the potential to do more with your life. That's all. Is that such a terrible thing for a father to want, for his own daughter to have her full potential?
Anyway. Let's just get into another topic before this just dissolves into an argument. And Mom's not here to referee us anymore.
Oh, don't bring your mother into this now. You know that's not fair, Tiffany.
I know. So, how you been? How's the firm?
I've been adequate. Things at the firm have been going very well. Working on a few heavier cases. I'm just trying to relax a bit, clear my head before I start poring over a few more documents. But thank you for asking.
Actually, since we're on the subject, just a question that was in my head the other day. Well, actually, today. No, yesterday, because, yesterday is when the chaos hit. Unfortunately, I don't know, have you heard about the incident with the plates?
I've read somewhere that such a plate was stolen from a museum. Oh, I believe it was actually Saffron City as well.
Yeah. Funny thing about that, the contest hall had 3 plates and they were also stolen. Some of my team members and a couple of the trainers tried to stop it and got hurt.
He lowers the newspaper that he was half, sort of skimming through while you were talking, and then he says, the facility that you're at was attacked.
Someone was
while you were there
to steal the plates, and unfortunately our team just tried to stop them.
Well, I'm assuming then that you did the smart thing and kept yourself out of it then.
I unfortunately didn't know what was going on until everything was said and done. You was not so lucky. He's fine, don't get me wrong. But it started me thinking, if you gets hurt, I can take him to a Poke Center and he'll be fine. But what about something like a Duskull or a Mimikyu? Actually, especially Mimikyu. Because, even someone who's well-intentioned like myself could not help them. They're banned. So that got me thinking, what would it take to get a banned Mimikyu registered? I've been trying to look it up on my phone, but I'm not finding anything.
He sits back up and he says, Mimikyu. Those are the ones that are so horrific to the sight. So horrific looking that they can actually cause people to go mad or even kill them just at the mere sight of them?
Yeah, but...
Tiffany, what a peculiar question for you to ask. Why on earth would you want one of those things beyond these walls?
Maybe it found its way in, I don't know. Like I said, it's just a hypothetical that popped into my head.
Well, if it finds itself in, then you need to bring it back to the proper authorities so that they can eject it out, deport it out as it should be. This is not a safe place for Mimikyu, either for it or for us, for that matter.
Again, every Pokemon's different. Maybe this one benefits from being around people.
You see, it's ideas like that, Tiffany, that can get you into a lot of trouble.
What? Mom's compassion? She did a lot of philanthropy work. This sounds like a cause she'd champion.
He looks a little hurt by that.
I know. She is not playing fair.
You can kind of see that his face is starting to grow a little bit red. Like he's starting to fume a bit. And he said, Tiffany, if you're going to be bringing your mother into this conversation, then I think you and I need to end said conversation immediately.
Fine, sorry. It was unfair of me.
Yes, it was. Completely. He says, no more of these uncomfortable questions, Tiffany. I don't think that it would do well for you to explore such things. Like I said, just focus on your beautician exploits and...
So that's what to actually make you be okay with that. Good to know. But, seriously, you're the person who would know this. You're like the head of Pokemon laws for your firm. Dawned on me you would know.
Yes, there are ways, I'm sure. Yes, there are ways to make exceptions for allowing a Pokemon who normally is on the banned list within the walls. But you need to have very good reason, number one, that is approved by the Pokemon Rangers, as they are the ones that are supposed to be enforcing said Pokemon in. And normally, when you have such a Pokemon, you need to have someone certified to actually watch over this Pokemon, of which you currently do not have such a certification.
I do not, but good to know. Again, it's all hypothetical. It's not like I'm gonna fly to the Alone Islands tomorrow and bring one home.
Well, I should hope not.
Although vacation time, I actually think I have vacation days now that are paid. Remember that.
I have to admit, I never really understood what anyone's appeal of traveling is.
Broaden horizons? See the world?
I think that the way technology is right now, we can gain whatever knowledge we want from the comfort of our own living room or of our office.
Oh well.
Of course, that's just my opinion. These laws, Tiffany, are made to keep everyone safe, like I said, both humans and Pokemon alike. It's better for Pokemon to not be mixed up where they shouldn't be, just as much as we should not be mixed up where we should not be. And in my opinion, that includes outside of the safety of these walls.
Maybe. I don't know. Actually, speaking about the wall, do we have any ties to it? It's like, I've been having this weird, reoccurring thought or dream, but for the life of me, I can't place where it's from. Maybe it's something your mom told me, or maybe something Trenton told me.
About the wall itself?
Or us having ties to it, maybe.
Not that I'm aware of. Where are all these ideas coming from, Tiffany? These are very bizarre questions that you're asking.
Aren't they? I don't know. I don't know. Just going through a phase, maybe.
Do you need to see a psychiatrist? I can probably find someone for you if you need to talk to someone.
Actually, I had one recommended to me recently. Dr. Pearl?
Dr. Pearl. Can't say I know about that one. If you're thinking about seeing this Dr. Pearl, I would like to see references and credentials.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that if you are going to pour your heart out to anyone, that they need to be extremely well established. Personally, I don't particularly trust in psychiatrists that much. I think
I'm aware.
But if you must see one,
it could help. I witnessed an explosion, the coma, my body being moved while I was in the coma. It would be nice. And actually, I don't know how well you know the Jennies in Saffron. There's a Lieutenant Kyle there. He actually recommended her.
Well, if one of the lieutenants from the station recommended it, then I suppose that she probably is an acceptable person for you to speak with.
Oh, don't worry. References will still be run by you.
Like I said, Tiffany, let's talk about more pleasant things. How was the wedding, by the way?
Oh, the wedding was wonderful. Constance is still Cecilia, but...
Yes, I don't...
Yes.
I don't particularly know why our family is still involved in the Constance that much. They seem to be interested in inviting us to every single thing, mostly to flaunt whatever it is that they wish to flaunt. That's kind of the reason why I really decided to decline from said invitation.
Here it was, I just thought you didn't like social events, since reason I can't bring up anymore. Mom was the social of the two of you. Sorry. I know I shouldn't bring it up, but it's fact.
She was. Yes, she was. By this point, he's gone over to the aquarium, and he's sort of stroking the back of Tide's head, and Tide's nuzzling into it a little bit. He after he finishes petting Tide, there's a very well folded towel that he picks up, and then he wipes, and then after he wipes it, he very carefully folds the towel very meticulously back to the way it was, and then he continues to turn around and continues the conversation. Have you spoken with Trenton at all since his incident and your incident?
Yeah, we were at the same table for the wedding, so...
He did go to that wedding, didn't he? I thought he mentioned something like that. I trust that everything with Trenton is going well.
He's Trenton. He can recover from anything. He's the golden boy of the firm.
He says, Trenton has...
He works very hard. I will agree to that, though.
Trenton has definitely been rising up in the ranks with this firm. I definitely was hopeful that this misunderstanding didn't mess up any of his chances of being promoted. Hopefully not. It would be very...
I doubt it.
It would be very unfortunate.
I'm actually surprised the firm's not paying for blood at this point.
I wouldn't know, he says as he shakes his head.
Your name's on the door. Benoit, Burgundy, and Bass.
Yes, well, I think that that now we're going back into the realm of uncomfortableness again, Tiffany.
Well, actually, I did want to bring up something with the firm, so I had a reason.
Proceed.
Okay, I know after asking to borrow Tide, I really shouldn't be asking for another favor so soon, but I kind of promised one of my friends I'd help, and after trying extensive searches on my phone through Google and not finding anything useful, maybe the firm could help. I know they have a pool dedicated to finding people.
Who specifically are you looking for?
Okay, I've recently made a new friend, Molly Moon. About 7 years ago, she got separated from her foster parents, and she's been looking for them ever since. Their names are Dylan and Irene Ray. Last known location was Pallet Town in Kanto here, so maybe they could help find them?
There's an orphan looking for her foster parents?
I know!
He thinks for a moment and says, I suppose I could pull a few strings, although it all depends on how much privacy this particular family is hoping to keep and maintain.
Oh, yes, obviously. But it can't hurt to look.
Very well. Molly Moon.
Thank
and
you.
You said their names are what again? He says he writes it down.
Dylan and Irene Ray.
I'll see if I can run this through my secretary. She might be able to conjure up something.
All right. I can't ask for more.
Are you sure? Is there nothing else that you wish to speak of your own dear dad, your own dear father?
Well, again, this is all very scattershot, and we've actually never spoken
Do you
about it.
need to borrow money again?
No, and I haven't touched my trust fund in almost 5 years. Do not
Good.
insult me. Anyway, psychics. How do you feel about them?
Psychics. He, again, is trying to choose his words carefully. In my line of work, I have had to defend a number of psychics, and most of them have been extremely pleasant. Yes. Some of them, however, have proven to be less than trustworthy. Let me put it that way.
Alright.
But I suppose, to be fair, you can say the same thing about non-psychics as well. It's, it's just that the people who are untrustworthy don't necessarily have... The non-psychics who are untrustworthy don't necessarily have the ability to know exactly what you're thinking, or even make you do things you normally wouldn't do.
Oh, a person can manipulate to do anything. I think I proved that several times in high school.
Not in that way, though.
True. My ways usually involve short skirts and way cleavage-bearing tops.
His nose kind of twitches a little bit when you say that.
Oh, yeah. Right. Unpleasantness. Moving away from.
Are you sticking around for dinner, Tiffany?
Well, if you wouldn't mind having me, you know. Takes out Oo's ball.
Not on this rug.
Fine.
Ew comes out. Now, Ew, Lobel, her father, is not really keen on, hugs as much, but I don't know if that stops you from hugging him, even though he's not really keen on it.
Well, first of all, Ew is covered with the body glitter. Half of his body is silver, the other half is rainbow.
So cute.
And he's very proud. He gets out of his ball and he's just beaming.
He says, "Oh, good to see you, Ew. You know the rules, not on the rug." And there's like a nice rug in the middle of in the living room.
Yes, he was popped out as close to it as she could without getting him on it. Like, come on, Trip.
So he looks at the edge of the carpet and then he comes toward him for a hug.
Oh, so cute.
Hugs his leg.
He looks very uncomfortable as you hug his leg. I wouldn't say he despises you. It's just, it's sort of, again, I'm looking at my dad again. I really wanted a dog. He never let us have any pets like a dog or a cat because, well, mostly a dog, because he likes his nice things at his house nice, and he doesn't like anything chewed up or messed up or shedded. So the same deal with you is like, he likes to keep his nice things nice. So if Ew's out, it needs to it's off limits. Most of the rooms of his house are off limits. So he's not going to allow a hug. Unfortunately. Ew can eat in his normal spot in the kitchen. Very, very... his designated spot in the kitchen, as always.
I know. I know where all the mats are for him.
He must remain there at all times. And he must be monitored at all times to make sure he does not leave said area.
Okay. Good luck with that.
Alright. That night, if you wish, you do end up in the dream zone again together. I don't know if any information is going to be exchanged or whatnot. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, goody, we're all here. So, I had an interesting phone call with the lieutenant this morning.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well,
That was Crystalia doing.
That was Crystalia.
Crystalia. I mean, well, he does have nice hair, but I don't know, personality-wise. Like, I tried to engage with him to get engaged with me, but it kind of blew me off. People do not blow me off. I'm off topic by a lot. Okay, so...
Wait, were you flirting with him?
Trying to, my fashion.
That's what you guys called about?
Well, no. He actually called to tell me the flight's locations. And yeah, funny story, Cassie. Apparently your dad had one at one point.
An Arceus plate.
Yeah. Where is my notes that are super...
The iron.
The iron plate.
The iron plate.
And I'm assuming Cassie would have no knowledge of that.
No knowledge of that.
Okay. So then in character. She'll ask, the lieutenant said that?
Yep.
When was he supposed to have had the Arceus plate?
Out of character. When would that be?
They know that Dr. Pine had acquired the Arceus plate. I would say probably around when Cassie was 11 years old, 11 or 12 years old.
Back when you were around 11, 12, give or take.
And that's when he obtained it? That's what you said?
That's when he obtained it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I worked...
It was found. The iron plate, if you're curious, was found in the Unknown Ruins, of which he happened to be a part of that expedition.
And I assume
for
Unknown
science.
is in the Pokemon.
As in the Pokemon Unknown.
Okay.
And he was there. He happened to be there in the expedition, and he ended up being in possession of it after.
Though not that any of us know that, right?
Not that any of you know that, because I don't think.
Because I mean, the lieutenant
gave
didn't
that
say
detail.
anything, and if Cassie didn't even know about it in the first place.
Yes, so that's just an FYI out of character.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
Just to add a little bit of extra flavor.
Thank you. Let's just say, I mean, I don't know. I worked really closely with my dad for years, and I didn't hear about a plate. I didn't see a plate. I mean, I don't.
I'm sorry, but I think, but I will say, Riz, out of character, that you do remember that when you were 11 or 12 years old, he did go on an expedition to the Unknown Ruins.
That's fair, but especially with the 11-year-old mindset, it probably wouldn't have connected anything.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe
That could be true.
Years later, maybe that might be significant. That was something that you do remember from when you were 11 or 12. That might have a connection.
Cool.
But,
It might click later, or just in this conversation, but at the moment, no.
okay.
Well, if one of the doors is your old childhood room, just saying. Not that far of a leap.
If it's your childhood room, maybe he gave you the plate without you even realizing.
Well, yeah, Cassie will look toward her door, and can she go open it? I mean, yeah, what's stopping her? She'll
Yeah.
go open her door then.
You open your door, and there's the nightstand with the magic Pokeball or 8-ball.
I mean, I don't see where it could be, unless it's one of those under the mattress things, which I really don't think that my dad would keep an Arceus plate in my room of all places.
What about under a floorboard that could be taken up? Or a ventilation shaft, or...
I'm just saying, even if he did have it, I feel like he would be smart enough to put it somewhere else.
Did he ever give you like any important gifts, like keep this safe above all else?
Oh, well, on that note, out of
Please.
character, how big are these plates? Because I don't think they'd fit into an 8-ball.
Well, if we break up the 8-ball, all the sides are.
It was folded into the...
As far as you know, the plate would not fit in the 8-ball.
But a
or
key
the
would.
Pokeball.
A key or codes to some
You're a
safe.
key! Okay.
Chase, hold him! We'll smash the 8-ball now!
So,
Oh yes, yeah. Yes.